Welcome to the Creative REI podcast, your go-to hub for all things real estate, business, life, travel, etc. I'm your host, Dante, joined by my co-host, Ed, both real estate professionals on a mission to connect and educate. This podcast is sponsored by PropStream, the most trusted provider of comprehensive real estate data nationwide. What's poppin', everybody? It's the Creative REI with your boy Dante Pena, Edward Nava, and we got Dispo Daddy himself. We're working on the effects. Guys, we're doing live Q&As in the live. If you're not in the live doing Q&As, you're going to have to wait until we actually release this in a few weeks because we're backed. Aren't we backlog?
First podcast of the year, 2024.
Oh, yeah. Happy New Year's.
Yeah, Happy New Year's.
Bro, you're our first guest this year.
That's an honor. I love it.
The honor's all mine.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, for the people who don't know Tony Mont, tell us about yourself.
Yeah. So, I run a wholesale company out of Raleigh, North Carolina. That's how we met. That's not everything about me, but that's how I got here, right? We have a great team out there, got a couple business partners, and we started about 2.5 years ago. And we've done this year, last year, 2023, we ended the year with about 3.6 million in assignments.
Sheesh.
So we're heavy in wholesale. We have a great operation. So Eric Klein is my business partner.
Shout out Eric Klein.
Shout out to Eric. And having him, run an acquisitions team for the company is a dang blessing, right? But as he was locking up a ton of deals, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do in the company. We just started this blindly, like
just figuring it out.
Heard about wholesaling.
Hell yeah.
Let's all move to Raleigh and open an office. And we got there. I was doing acquisitions. Me and Eric were both doing acquisitions. Closed the first call I ever made in acquisitions.
We call those one-shot kills. You're a sniper.
Pulled up the first lead, talked to the guy, got him under contract. I think it took him a couple days to sign, but I closed them. And after that, I was like, well, we're paying another company to dispo all these deals. Like, why don't I just take on dispo?
Yeah.
But I learned really fast because, when we started building up the closer team acquisitions, Eric and 2 other acquisitions or 3 other acquisitions, they were locking up so many deals. I had to get like really, really tight with the process. And I'm like, I got to get really efficient with this. I got to learn as much as possible. I got to spread the widest net possible when I get these deals. So it was just, I just learned a ton in a couple of years. And now we got it really dialed in where, we're selling deals really fast with, the highest assignment fees we can.
Yeah. So originally started JVing with people bringing you buyers.
Yeah. Because I had no idea how to dispo.
Right.
I didn't know
so
anything about
wholesale.
You
dispo this and then we'll just get you paid out. But then you'd realize how much money is being left on the table.
Yeah. Because we were giving up, 35, 40% on every single deal.
Sheesh.
And it's like, and then with a JV partner, some are great, but some, are they going to really treat your deal the same as they're treating their in-house deals?
Right.
Like they're only making 50% or more, 60%. And
well, not only that, they don't have control of the deal, but they want to act like they do.
Right.
You ever had that happen?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And so anyway, it was just, if we were going to grow and make this a real company, we had to start dispoing our own deals, obviously. So that's how I got started in it, and did 1.6 million the first year, and then 2.6 the second year, and then now here we are, at like 3.6.
What were some of your biggest obstacles when you first started doing dispo?
Yeah, just really just getting the process dialed in, because what happened was we started when the market was like cranking too.
You guys are doing the hedge fund thing.
We didn't go heavy into hedge funds, but even if you didn't sell the hedge funds, all the buyers were buying everything because the market was going crazy. So like we got really, really comfortable just like selling to, the 5 buyers that were buying everything.
Right.
And we weren't
going
through
buying
our
constantly.
process. Yeah. And it was just, we were just like order taking, So when the market shifted, it was a real blessing for me because like my team up and quit. It was just me. We had like 20 something deals in the dispo bucket in our CRM. And I was like, all right, everybody's gone. It's just me. Shit's getting tough. Nobody's buying that we're selling to. So everybody leave me alone. Let me sit at my computer ended up selling like 12 deals in like, 10 days or something. And
but actually putting in the work and like figuring out your system.
Yeah. So it's like, I got to make these calls. I was on, having like 4.5, 5 hours of talk time some days just selling deals. And it was like that moment in me and Eric got together. We're like, man, nobody really has KPIs for Dispo. I kept asking all these people in the industry and nobody had like specific KPIs. And I'm like, me and Eric decided it's like, well, we need dials and talk time on Dispo, just like acquisitions.
Right.
And we need, Dispo is a longer process. It's more in depth because you got to spread a wide net. So it's not just dials and talk time, but it's like, how many offers are you getting on these properties, and how many buyers are you adding, and how many times do you send the deal out reduced, and how do you get a reduction, all that kind of stuff. That all goes, hand in hand with the process.
Let's break down on that. You want to break down on that? Because obviously from where you started versus now, you notice the market changes. And with the market changing, there's windows and there's cycles that you have to learn to adapt to. From beginning of 2023 to now, what would you say are some of those changes?
Yeah, the one thing that I implemented that like everybody, calls me this like flat fee MLS guy because I'm the one that started talking about it. But like a couple of years ago, we were listing like rural deals on the flat fee MLS. And these are just wholesale deals, not novations. Like novations is a totally different thing.
Yeah.
But I would list, rural deals on the MLS on a flat fee with an attorney in fact and a pre-marketing clause in our purchase agreement. And then when the market shifted, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. And I'm like, well, if our buyers aren't buying right now and the hedge funds aren't buying and our VIPs aren't buying, like, what's the biggest buyer pool? It's the MLS.
Right.
So why don't we just get every single buyer to look at these deals? So every deal we lock up, let's get the pre-marketing clause and attorney in fact in there and flat fee every single deal. Because what happened was if you were a new investor in 21 and most of 22 and even before that, like how would you ever get a good deal? Like you're looking on, you're looking on the MLS, right? You're using an agent, but all the big buyers were overpaying for everything, and the hedge funds were overpaying. So it's like if you weren't in the know, like you were an investor, like trying to get into real estate, like you see everybody else doing it, you couldn't get a good
online.
Deal. Yeah, totally. Yeah. So what happened was when the market shifted, and we started putting everything on the MLS. All these new buyers that couldn't get deals before, that were using agents and stuff, couldn't get anything off market. They were finding all these deals from us and paying more than our VIPs and stuff were paying. So they were just getting into the game. They're using an agent. They're buying stuff on the MLS. They're used to getting outbid. So they're putting, good offers in on everything. So we noticed all these new buyers and new investors were blowing our VIPs and hedge funds out of the water.
Nice. It's funny because Dispo, not one of my strong suits. I started in the very beginning having people Dispo my deals, kind of like what you did. And try to do it on my own, but I just realized the negotiation game with buyers and the games they play, I don't really like playing the games.
Yeah.
And so I realized just, somebody told me in the very beginning, find what you're good at and stick to that.
Sure.
Dispo was not that. So I was like, bro, I'm not going to figure this out because I don't want to, but you figured it out.
I figured it out. And like, here's the thing with Dispo versus acquisitions too. Like with acquisitions, you're talking to a seller that's usually in distress, right? It's a longer conversation. You're digging into their personal life. Why are they selling? What are their issues? You got to be really empathetic to be a good closer. Like you got to listen, you got to actively listen and use that in negotiations and pushing them to get that signature. Yeah. And Dispo is kind of the flip of that. You don't need to be empathetic. Like you need to create good relationships with buyers. You got to be, friendly and entertaining and interesting to talk to. And you got to know what you're talking about. Right. But when it comes to negotiation, you're not digging into their pain. You're digging into like, hey, either sign this contract or somebody else is going to buy it.
Yeah, give me my number or fuck off.
Exactly. You got to be a little more hard on it. Yeah. So.
No, seriously, though.
Yeah, that's exactly how it is. These buyers can beat you up.
Well, especially if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. But if you don't have a buyer's list, like you panic and you're like, I'll just take this and make $5,000 when really you can make $25,000 on it.
Right. Well, so flat fee MLS. because we did flat fee MLS.
We did it once. It was what would you say?
It worked. It worked.
But
It's just a lot of work. You have to talk to the realtors yourself.
Yeah.
You got to deal with realtors that don't listen because you clearly put on here that it's by appointment only, and they're like, we want to come at 3:00. It doesn't say at 3:00 you can come through. Just like a bunch of BS. And so luckily we got a hold of this one guy. He worked with us. And so we got over asking because of it. We got it to the closing table. But I'm like, man, this is realtor work almost.
So that's for a novations deal, right?
This was kind of like both.
An novation flat fee.
Yeah,
right?
it was kind of novation.
It was like for an end buyer, retail buyer.
Yeah, like retail. we told the seller straight up, like, I'm not going to buy this. We'll find you a buyer. Sign this paperwork.
So
let
that's
us
a
do
novation. Yeah. So like on novation deals, we find a realtor to list it for us because then it's like now they're kind of like your employee, like they're doing all the work for you,
right?
And the listing looks way better. It's more professional. Like when you're listing innovations on the flat fee, like the buyer's agents are going to look at that deal and be like, this is a wholesale deal, or this is bullshit, right? Like they don't take it serious. They don't send it to their buyers. You know, if your wording's not right in your descriptions and your overview,
they'll just like, oh, what are the chances of this deal going down? Yeah,
exactly. They look at it shady, and they'll beat you up on price because of that. But if you're using a realtor to list novations, it's just a deal. It's just a house on the market, right? All the back end shit that we do doesn't need to be explained.
It's none of their business.
It's none of their business, and the realtor is going to work through it, and they're going to do they're getting paid commissions. They're going to do everything they can to get it closed out. So novations, we do use agents, but our straight wholesale deals, we just use a flat fee. We make the description like we are the seller, though, and like, hey, selling this property, it's in this type of condition, and here's the neighborhood, and here's this and that. You know, so we'll take like little descriptions from houses that are for sale on Zillow or just sold.
Play along with it.
And just like, hey, what's good about this neighborhood? What's good about our house? Let's list it and use all this. And we'll even put it in like Chat GPT.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that, but my team knows how to do that. Thank God.
We're getting to, how old are you?
40.
40? Okay.
Yeah.
So I got a few years behind.
If there was like a pie chart, right, you would say with all the deals you sold, what would you say it's like the majority of the deals you sell?
So this year, the majority have sold from the flat fee MLS.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Our wholesale deals.
A majority of our deals as well. It almost like, why even wholesale?
Yeah.
And I get it because it's quick and easy.
Sure.
But sometimes quick and easy is not as easy as you think, because there's been times it's like 100K deals were the easiest deals, and the 5K deals are like the most work.
That's how it works every time. Dude, every big deal is way easier than the small.
We just need more big deals.
Because big deals get smaller and small deals go away. Like if you only have $5,000 in a deal and anything comes up, you have no room for negotiation. Yeah, you're screwed. So yeah, I agree 100%. But most of our deals get sold off of the flat fee MLS, and these are strictly wholesale deals. Like we're just finding a cash buyer, we're still assigning our contract, all that. But and then we have a really good buyers list in our CRM. Yeah. So a lot of deals get sold off of that. We use Investor Lift. We get deals sold off of that, and then we cold call on every single deal. We cold call cash buyers and agents, and every month we get a deal sold to a cash buyer. We cold call.
You got somebody particularly that runs your flat fee MLS, or is it like everybody on Dispo?
Everybody does it, but we do have a disposition assistant that just does all the paperwork for it, and then whoever's deal that is, they field the calls and take that deal to the mat. So my disposition assistant, which I think she just changed her title to MLS coordinator because it sounds better. But like we just created this role out of thin air. Like I don't know anybody else that has this role in-house anyway, but she pulls 20 to 25 new cash buyers and or buyers agents if the buyer bought the deal with an agent on the MLS. And she pulls all their phone numbers, she skip traces it, she puts it in the CRM for that particular deal. And so when the deal gets over to, the dispo agents that are going to dispo this deal, they got a head start on all these cash buyers in the neighborhood that have bought cash in the last year
Okay.
and that are flipping or buying and holding in the area. And
She
their
start the
agents.
initial conversation, or did she go all the way through?
She just started the initial conversation. She was literally just getting their numbers and putting them in the CRM, but she's slowly getting on the phones where she'll call the agents, talk about the property their cash buyer bought,
Mhm.
qualify them, and then put them qualified in the CRM with a note, and then Slack whoever's deal it is and say, hey, I got a hot agent on this one.
Nice.
Let me transfer it. So she does a ton of work for us.
Mhm.
And it's the reason we add 200 new cash buyers a month,
Mhm.
using that technique. And they're real cash buyers that are actively buying.
Right, because it's based off public data. What do you how do you organize your cash buyers? Let's say you got a house in, I don't know, San Diego, here in Bankers Hill, and you want to look for buyers specifically in this area, and you want to go through your CRM that has the buyers. Do you type in like tag words, or like, or do you just kind of blindly call around vicinities?
No, what I've noticed is when we qualify our buyers with the initial conversation to make sure they're good buyers, and we're going to qualify them in our CRM, we'll ask them all these, qualifying questions. We'll get their buy box and their criteria. And then when we say, all right, we're just going to send you deals that make sense for this specific criteria, 9.9 out of 10 times they say, whenever you get a deal in this market, just send it to me. Because if it's a good deal, I want it.
Right.
So really, we just kind of dial in our buyers list by the market. So if anybody's buying in San Diego, whether they're buying,
everybody San Diego
is going to get it. And they're just marked either VIP qualified or unqualified.
Right.
So if they're VIP, they've put good offers in, or they've bought a property. If they're qualified, we've had a conversation with them. We know them. We've vetted them. We got them in the CRM. If they're unqualified, it's data that we've pulled that we've never gotten a hold of them yet.
Right.
But that's still good data. So next time we get a deal in San Diego, that unqualified list is still going to get a mass text message.
Okay.
Got another property. And then as they trickle in and start texting back or calling in, we'll qualify them and then put them in as qualified. So then we can send them the full address, the deal, everything. Yeah.
That's pretty dope.
It's pretty dialed in.
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
I have a question. I want to get to know Tony Mont a little bit more. What's your
Still got some
background? If you don't mind,
Q&As.
I was asking.
Yeah, I grew up Rockford, Illinois, a little shithole outside of Chicago.
It's like a suburb, or?
It's not really a suburb. It's a little far for that. We're about 90 miles from the city.
Okay.
It's its own city, but very blue collar. It's called Screw City. Not sexually, but because
is it by Aurora by any chance?
It's not by Aurora.
Okay.
I mean, Aurora's
Colorado.
Well, there's one in
Aurora.
Illinois.
Oh.
Yeah, you're maybe an hour from Aurora.
Okay.
But it's called Screw City because they manufactured hardware there. So it's like a heavy factory influence.
It's like a mill town.
Kind of like a mill town. Yeah.
Where like the mill runs the town, and whoever owns it is like the king of the town.
There's a ton of factories, and with, in the late 80s and then early 90s, when everything started getting outsourced, all the jobs went away. Damn. And it just got really rough and poor. There's a lot of crime. There's a lot of gangs. There's like some crazy, it's always top 10 worst places to live, like most dangerous cities
over
in America.
Chicago.
Yeah, it's tough.
Damn.
Because of the per capita. Like, there's a weird statistic where it's like between 2010 and 2020, I think it was like there's a 1 in 1,000 chance you were assaulted with a deadly weapon if you lived in Rockford or something. I mean, it's a violent place.
What kind of gangs are there? Is it like Crips and Bloods, or
like Gangster Disciples and GD all folks? That stuff? I don't know.
You're Sicilian, right?
I'm Sicilian.
My daughter's half. So they all came from Chicago. So it's like a little bit of families there, or I can see that.
It's a rough area. I mean, I grew up, my grandfather was a bookie.
Okay.
That whole kind of side of my family, they just grew up kind of hustling.
Yeah. It's like the environment.
Yeah. It's like they came over here in, early 1900s and hustled. They didn't go to school. They didn't write. They didn't read. They just said, let's figure out how to make money.
Yeah.
So I just had that hustler's mentality. And, growing up, I grew up, not a super stable environment.
Right.
And one of my best friends died when I was 17, and it just kind of set me into a tailspin.
Yeah.
I just started doing a lot of drugs and drinking, started doing cocaine, and then that progressed to the point where like I just kind of turned around one day. I didn't have a ton of friends. Everybody was kind of cutting me out because I was so wild. And then I ended up getting in a bar fight when I was 22 and accidentally killed somebody in a bar fight.
Damn.
He ended up being a off-duty police officer.
Damn. So it's extra charge.
Extra charge. So I got pinched for first-degree murder when I was 22.
Damn.
So it took like, I don't know, 18 months to go to trial. And it was a 2-week trial, and I was found not guilty for self-defense.
3 weeks?
2-week trial.
2-week trial. Yeah. They were trying to get you quick.
Yeah, man. It was pretty cut and dry what happened.
Okay, so they knew it was an accident. It wasn't like you meant to.
I mean, I knew it was an accident. The state was trying to prove it wasn't.
State will always try to make up something to make it more than what it is.
It was wild, too, because, like, everybody that was there, every witness, they were like, yeah, Tony just punched him one time. He fell back. He hit his head.
Yeah.
Right? And he died, weeks later.
Yeah.
And I found out he died like on the news. Like I didn't even know. Like it was just.
What were you feeling when you saw that? You're like, damn.
It just like felt like life was over.
Yeah.
Like I really like
almost flashing.
Yeah. Like I'd been in jail a couple times and like for little petty shit. But like this time it was like shit. Like I'm in real fucking trouble here. Like I could spend the rest of my life in jail.
Like we really fucked up this time, Tony.
I fucked up. Yeah.
Hey, it's for all you little gangsters out there. Okay. Let me explain something.
Cool.
You little gangsters out there, while you guys are out here in the streets, these real gangsters are trying to get out. Okay, let this be a message to you. We got some Q&As in here.
Yeah,
we're gonna go through some Q&As. You got some more questions? We're gonna have Ed ask questions first. You got any?
Yeah. What's your background like in terms of like? Do you have prior sales experience? For doing dispo? Or?
Yeah. So after I got out of trouble, I ended up getting found not guilty. That was all back home in Illinois. And then the minute the state told me I could leave, I left. And I just packed up my stuff. I moved to San Diego.
Like fresh start.
Right now. I needed a fresh start. Stopped talking to everybody, including Eric Klein, who I was friends with back then.
Shout out Eric Klein, the sales goat.
We've known each other a long time. But he was still wild back then too. He ended up getting sober a couple years after that. And he's been sober now for, I think 13, 14 years, something like that. But anyway, so I moved out to California, come here to San Diego, and I was an electrician at the time I got in trouble, right? Residential electrician. Out in Illinois. So when I came here, though, it was the end of 2008. And everything was done.
Nobody was hiring.
I was walking on job sites like, I'll sweep floors for $10 an hour, and they're like, we're still
you
laying
moved here
off.
In 2008.
Yeah, end of 2008.
No shit. Yeah. I was doing loan mods in Mira Mesa at 20 years old. I kid you not. Like 20 years old, I was slinging phones, and they were like, "Hey, you should come do loans. You're a good salesman." I'm like, sure, I'll go check it out. And then when I got hired, they were like, oh, nobody's qualifying for loans. We're going to switch to loan mods. You remember loan mods?
Of course.
Yeah. That's crazy. So, okay, electrician in the crash of 2008.
Yep. So then I come out here. I'm trying to get a job doing anything with, electrical work, like whatever that might be, applying for all these jobs. And I would do a really good interview and, all that. And then the minute they would run my background check, they'd see that I was just arrested for
the
murder.
Charge.
Yeah.
Damn. And you're not even convicted.
Not convicted, but it still shows up on your arrest record.
Yeah.
And that's a shock. Like I couldn't even rent an apartment back then because of the background check.
Because they would check, yeah.
So I was just like, man, what am I going to do? So I ended up working nights at a Food for Less, stocking shelves.
Okay.
And I was making like $13 an hour for like 6 hours a night of work. And then I responded to an ad on Craigslist for a gig. And it was who ended up being my business partner. He posted an ad. He said, I need somebody to come. I'm opening a bicycle shop in PB. I need you to come build 10 beach cruisers for $100 every morning.
Is that off Garnett?
Yeah. Pacific Beach Bike Shop.
There's Rubio's right next to it, right?
No. We were up on Gresham and then Faneuil. We were at the corner shop on Faneuil next to the Minute Clinic.
Okay.
And then we moved over by the fish shop where it still is. I sold it earlier this year.
Okay, so it's not yours. Somebody else.
Somebody else is
They're probably doing the electric bikes now.
Oh, yeah.
Because everybody's lazy.
That's what everybody wants. Everybody's fat and lazy. Yeah.
America.
Everybody wants that instant gratification.
Yeah.
But anyway, I responded to this ad, and it was like $100 a day to come build 10 beach cruisers. And I'm like, well, shit, I could do that.
Yeah.
So I show up at the the shop, he was opening like an hour before he even got there. He gets there. I'm like, dude, I really need this job. Like, I'll do it for free for a week. You can see how good I can do. Yeah. And he's like, I got a bunch of interviews today. We'll see what happens. And I just kept calling him throughout the day. And it was like 3 p.m. by the time I called him like the third or fourth time. And he was just like, are you the guy that came in this morning, first one? I was like, yeah. He goes, just come in tomorrow and start working. I was like, all right, cool. So I showed up the next day, and like instantly we were selling. I was building 10 bikes a day. We were selling 10 bikes a day. And it got to the point where he's like, dude, just work for me full time. I said, all right. So I worked for him for about a year, maybe a year and a half or something, and then ended up partnering up. And then later we went to China. We started importing our own brand of beach
manufactured
cruisers.
and stuff.
We started manufacturing. We started distributing. We had a warehouse up in Mira Mesa.
Made your own name brand. What was the name brand?
Freedom Cycle Company.
Freedom Cycle.
Yep. Which if you go to PB, I mean, I went down there to get my haircut this morning. I saw 20 of them. You know, we sold 50,000 bikes in the 13 years I owned that bike shop. So all out of PB. So there's a ton of those bikes out on the street.
Location, bro. Yeah. You picked a really good location.
Yeah, and we just did everything different than anybody else. Like nobody knew what the hell they were doing down there. We went to all these shops and we're like, nobody wants $1,000 Electra. You know, nobody wants this or that. It's like, let's just import cheap beach cruisers with nice colors and comfortable seats and sell them. And that's what we did. So. And started importing, and then that shop did really, really well. And then after COVID, you know, made a bunch of money during COVID because bikes were limited, and we had a bunch. Right when COVID started, we had like 1,600 bikes in China, and we just had ship them all over, you know, before we can't get them.
Right.
So they shipped all of them on a gamble. You know, we were like, I don't know if the world's going to shut down. We can ever sell these or what's going to happen. But the minute they got here to San Diego, I mean, people were driving from LA and Riverside and Phoenix to come to our shop because nobody had bikes.
Damn. So you guys thought ahead.
We thought ahead, and we sold 1,200 bikes in May of 2020.
That'd be like your highest sales revenue.
1,200 bikes in a month, dude. We were cranking. Yeah.
Why'd you sell? Why not keep it and like have it as like a revenue stream?
I did for a while, but I'm so busy with what I do now. I had zero time to put in out here, and I live in North Carolina. The shop's in San Diego, so I ended up just selling it, and it was the best decision for me.
How do you like Raleigh versus San Diego?
I don't. You know the answer.
That's what it is for all you haters. Talk about California who've never been to San Diego.
Listen, California is full of a bunch of weirdos.
They really are.
And weird laws and rules, and they regulate the shit out of this.
But if you can get past that.
But dude, San Diego is like this nice little pocket, dude, where I mean, how many people really talk politics in San Diego? Everybody just wants to go to the beach.
Or climb some mountains or go to the desert. Your boy just came from Ocotillo Wells. That's funny you say that. I get a lot of friends. I used to live in Texas for like 8 years, and politics are huge. And I think a lot of stuff is people regurgitating shit they see on TV.
They don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Right. So they're like, and living in Texas, this is what I learned. You don't tell them you're from California.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all. So my family come out, they're like, oh, I'm not from here. I'm visiting. I'm from California. I'm like, first of all, stop telling people that they don't give a fuck.
They don't like you.
They don't give a fuck that you're from California. Say San Diego. And the responses are way different, right? If you hear California, they're like, go back there, you commie, blah, blah, blah. But if you hear San Diego, I love San Diego. It's my most favorite place to visit in California. Stuff like that. And then I say Oceanside, and they're like, where?
What's that? Yeah. I did a 30-day road trip, and like a couple years ago when I was still out here, I just had a cab over camper on the back of my truck, and I'm like, I'm gonna hike or mountain bike every single day.
Hell yeah.
So I did a 30-day trip camping and stuff all by myself. I ended up in Boise 2 weeks into it, and I had California plates on my truck. And while I was in Boise, multiple people were like, go home. You're from California? I'm like, I am San Diego. They're like, don't move here. Don't move here. We don't like you.
Yeah, not welcome.
Dude, they do not like people from California.
Texas has Don't California My Texas.
Yeah, they had bumper stickers and all sorts of stuff in Idaho. So it was interesting. But yes, you were right, dude. San Diego, it's hard to beat. And I feel like my life started when I moved here because my life was
San
so
Diego?
fucked up.
Why San Diego from Rockport? Like, did you know somebody? Were you like,
No, I
you
didn't
just
know
like
anything.
why were you
literally,
like San Diego?
I literally looked at a map and I was like, what's the furthest point from where I am right now? And I picked San Diego.
Any south, you'd be in Mexico.
Yeah.
You used to do Baja?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I pre-ran Baja 4 or 5 times.
Damn.
I used to share a house in San Felipe down there with some guys.
Okay.
So I'd go down there for weeks at a time. Dude, Baja.
People sleep on Mexico, but it's the idea that they're scared of.
My favorite place on the planet, dude. I've traveled a lot. If somebody said you can go to one place and never leave, I would pick Baja, California.
We got a friend who she Airbnbs on a beach house in Rosarito. She bought it for like $500,000.
Yeah.
And it's like old school Spanish style, but it's away from everything. And like, I mean, we don't need anything special, bro. And then you go down the street and it's like a third of the price for food. We're talking like lobsters, big, gigantic lobsters for like $30. Where are you going to find that out here?
Dude, Mexico's great.
So it's like, and it's called Baja California for a reason, but it's pretty much California, but cheaper.
Way cheaper. The people are nice.
Yeah.
Like they love when
Americans,
you're there.
yeah.
They love Americans. It's chill. It's just a great place. Dude.
And then that's where they do the Baja 5,000?
Baja 1,000.
1,000.
Yeah, Baja 1,000, Baja 500, Baja 250.
500. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't grow up in the desert, but I had a bunch of friends that did. So I was like a coastal boy, but you're like what we call a bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
I belonged in East County.
Oh, yeah. So definitely, bro.
But yeah, dude, dude, like we were talking earlier before the podcast, it's like, snowboarding and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, dude, that's when I feel most comfortable. I'm like a fidgety, anxious guy.
You got to be doing something all the time.
Dude, I can't sit and watch TV. I'll fucking chew my fingers off.
Right.
Like every chance I get, I'm either working on an old vehicle that I'm trying to restore, or I like to go mountain biking, hiking. I like to off-road. I like to snowboard. Like in those moments, like I just got back from the desert and it's like, when you're wide open in the middle of the desert, like with a chance you're going to roll your truck and like chaos is going on, like I feel so peaceful. Like
you kind of get thrilled off of adrenaline.
Yeah, because if your mind is here all the time and you can match what you're doing there, then you quiet all this noise that goes on in your head. Like for me anyway, like people do it with medication, but I do it with like, getting away and doing something that, other people would have high anxiety doing. It brings mine way down and I just feel comfortable.
So like for me, it's the ocean.
There you go.
Right. Like, that's what I was telling you off camera, your only job is to keep paddling when you're in the water. And, you said to yourself, you're not really a strong swimmer, but granted, if you could just stay on top of that board and keep paddling, once you make it past, every person that I've taken out and they've made it actually out past the break and they look back, they're like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. And I'm like, I know. Yeah. This is why I do it.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. I took Ed out when he was struggling. He was struggling. He was like laying on his board. I'm like, bro, you got to keep paddling. All right. Q&As. My boy Max, how long would a deal be on the board before taking your best offer, even if it's below the minimum?
Yeah, so it depends on the market. Like I preach all the time, like we rerun comps and dispo once we get them. And because now we have the photos, we see the true condition of the property. My dispo team is really good with looking at comps and cash comps. So we send the deal out for exactly what we think we can get for it.
Okay.
And
so we do underwriting after underwriting.
Yep. So it gets underwritten twice, really, before it gets sent out. And once we send it out, it's like, hey, we think we can get 150 for this property. We expect to get that. Does that happen every time? Absolutely not. But that's what we expect. Okay. So if it's in a good market that we have good buyers in, my team cannot assign that deal until we have 5 offers on it.
5 offers minimum.
Unless we get a asking price or above asking price offer, we take it right away, even if that's day one.
Okay, so just to make sure I understand, is if it's 5 offers below asking, then we'll consider it. But if you're getting asking, do you ever do bidding wars?
No.
I don't either. I think it's bad business. If you want to build a relationship,
your buyers are going to get annoyed with you. The next time you send them a deal, they're going to be like, "Oh, now that you're going to bid me up." I don't like it. People used to preach it all the time when the market was cranking, and I never did it. And I'm glad I didn't because my buyers respect that.
Well, no, we had a mentor that was like, I mean, you can get them into a bidding war, but if you want to piss them off, don't expect to do more business.
Well, put yourself in their shoes. Like, what if you went to a shoe store and you were trying to buy pair of Jordans for $200 and somebody next to you's like, I'll pay you $220.
Yeah.
And you're like,
oh, sorry, this guy just gave me
yeah. It's like, well, the price is $200. You know, it's the same shit. So we never did that. But if we get an asking price, even dude, my guys, there's one guy I have in Dispo right now who pre-markets our deals that we haven't gotten photos yet.
Mm-hmm.
He got an asking price on a deal in Raleigh before we even got photos, sight unseen. He's done it twice in a month. And one of them was worth $40,000 assignment fee, and the other one's a $17,000 assignment fee. He got sight unseen before we even dispoed it.
Would you say that is really because of the fact that you underwrite your deals properly?
Yeah,
because a lot of people don't
underwrite
underwrite shit. I've gotten new wholesalers sending me something on market, clearly showing it's listed for $40,000, and they're trying to sell it to me for 60. I'm like, bro, it's clearly listed for 40 here.
Yeah, I mean, most people don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah,
you know, so we know exactly what it's worth. We send it out. We expect to get that asking price. If we get offers below that, then you need 5 offers before you can assign it. But we have a 3-week process. Basically, it's 15 business days.
Okay.
So, so yeah, we're always following up with offers, trying to get the buyers up. And then at the end of the 3 weeks, which this is controversial for a lot of weak people on social media and these fake ass gurus with emotions who block you when you just respond to a reel that they made. Oh yeah. I mean, what a weak move. It's so embarrassing. These men that
we're talking about the price drops. They're getting mad.
Yeah.
You know what? Here's the thing. I'm going to say something about price dropping. At the same time, we've all done them. Everyone's done a price drop. Who hasn't?
I'm not price dropping to make more money. I'm price dropping to make a deal
to make it work. Right.
Yeah.
Now, there are some people out there, they just price drop for the hell of it because, hey, how much more money can we get?
Yeah, we never did that.
Versus like, hey, man, we're talking to our guys and the numbers aren't working from what you're wanting, that we're needing to make this work to, come down here. Right. At the same time, I think that a lot of people, perception is everything. So the way somebody else might see something might not be exactly how you perceived it. So they might perceive it like this and, oh, you're doing this, you're doing that. But I mean, people are going to have opinions. And I mean, this is what I always say. Haters are always talking about you and you're never talking about them.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's, and it's all fun and games. I don't really give a shit. Right. But like the one we're talking about, it was a $5,000 reduction literally just to get the deal sold. Like we only made $5,000 because that was what we reduced it. Right. You know, because the buyer was exactly at what we locked it up for. Seller hadn't been in the property for 12 years. She didn't know the condition when we locked it up. We got pictures back. It was in rougher shape. Right. It had been vacant for a long time. And this buyer was originally at like $50,000. So we got him up to 65 to only need $5,000 reduction to get the deal done. We're
doing a reduction right now just to get our money back because we put money in on the house. Yeah. And we actually made a creative where we created like a balloon. Yeah. We're like, hey, look, we're breaking even. The number we originally told you was probably the number we should have stuck to, but we came up for you. At this point, you need to work with us on this market because I need my money back. Yeah. You know, and people don't really talk about how sellers don't always tell the truth about the property.
They never tell the truth.
You know, we got another guy right now. He's like, the house is in great condition. I'm fixing it up. We get there, the subflooring's fucking gone. There's no electrical in the house. Like, the roof is leaking, and now you're mad at us that we're calling you out about it. And they're like, I didn't say that. Well, thank God we recorded the call. Yeah. You know, so, leverage is everything. Everyone's going to have their opinions. I didn't say anything wrong with the price drop. I know there's a lot of people out there that do. I don't see a reason to.
The only people mad about price dropping are people that can't do it. Yeah. Like, that's truly how I feel. It's like, everybody a lot of people wholesale that are listening to this, and it's like, we know, like you just said, sellers lie to us constantly, or they just don't know the condition of the house. Right. We're locking up properties at a price over the phone without looking at the property. The numbers are going to be off a little bit.
I always tell them, if the house is in the condition that you tell me, we're going to go ahead and buy it at this price. Exactly. And that's there's my setting the expectations.
What I don't understand is, like, if people are mad about getting a reduction to make a deal work, like, but they're not mad about getting $100,000 assignment
or the fact that you got to walk away from a deal because you couldn't make the will.
A deal.
Yeah,
like I don't like canceling deals for sellers or buyers, really. Yeah. And it's like, I mean, some deals will reduce our assignment fee to make it work, we do that all the time for buyers and sellers. And some deals we've just broke dead even zero on just so the seller can sell the property and the buyer doesn't pay an assignment fee. He's just like, hey, I'm stuck at this price. And we're like, well, shit, let's just do it. So the seller at least gets to sell the property and get paid. We don't get paid, but it's good business.
Right.
So,
and I think it for the energy, the reciprocity is what's called reciprocity. There's, I mean, deals where we ended up only making 1,600, but we got the guy out of a bind.
Yeah, dude, there's a lady. And this is the shit that, you know, these people don't realize.
They don't talk about this part. They want to talk about the negative.
There was a lady who, this property was in Ohio. We refer to it as the shit house. Her husband had died 5 or 6 years ago. She had a special needs daughter. She was really nervous over the phone. We got it under contract at a good price. Once we got photos back, she literally was hoarding adult diapers that were dirty.
Full diapers?
Full diapers. Literally hoarding them to where every room stacked to the ceiling was dirty adult diapers. Her adult diapers.
Oh, shit.
So, like,
how do you smell? You can't breathe. That's like a health issue.
Dude, this lady was in really rough shape.
Literally a shit house.
Literally a shit house. And we ended up selling the deal, and we were going to make, I think, 57 grand on it or something, right? And I came into work. I came into the office one day. I couldn't sleep the night before. And I was just like, I talked with the team and I was like, we're going to give this lady another 15 grand and reduce our price because I like she needs it more than we do. Yeah. It was either 15 or 20, something like that. Yeah. But we ended up giving her more money at closing because of the situation. Yeah. It's like, is 20 grand going to change our lives? No, it's going to change this lady's life.
Sometimes you just want to get the deal done.
Yeah.
You know, actually, next question on here. What's the best negotiation with the buyer when you're arguing about rehab costs?
Rehab costs, like everybody's going to have a different rehab cost. It's like if I tried to flip a house in Tulsa, Oklahoma tomorrow, my rehab cost would be way higher than somebody that flips there already. Somebody that's a contractor, somebody that's a buy and hold investor versus a flipper. Like all the numbers are going to be all over the place. What kind of deals do you get at Home Depot that I can't get? So for rehab cost, it really comes down to, hey, like maybe your rehab cost is higher than another guy that's just going to buy and hold his property or another guy that's a contractor. Like you're never going to get the perfect price for everybody on a rehab cost, right?
Right.
But it just depends on the buyer. But rehab costs, we have like a sheet that we go off of that I made of a very like just general, if it needs, you know, flooring and paint, it's this price for this square footage. If it needs flooring, paint, and a new kitchen and new bathrooms, it's this price per square foot. If it needs all that plus windows and a roof and a hot water heater, then it's this price. And
like a tier system?
Yeah, and I got that data off of my buyers like throughout the country, and it's like, I know this is what it costs, right? So like you can't really beat me up because it needs this, that, and the other.
Right.
And I know how much that stuff costs.
See, that's where I'm like, give me my asking price or fuck off.
Yeah, basically that. But you know, you got to negotiate with these guys. And it's like, I always throw it back at them. They're like, oh, this price. And then they're like, oh, you know, your rehab is way off. It's going to cost this. And I'm like, then you're getting ripped off from your contractor. Because
you used to be an electrician too.
Yeah, so and I'm like, and I have a background in construction, so I know what shit costs and what needs to get fixed. And if they're really way off, I throw it back at them. I'm like, dude, you're getting ripped off. Like, you need to find another contractor because you're getting screwed. Like, your rehab cost is double what it should be.
Do you agree that some buyers maybe just gaslight to try to make
100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. It's all a game.
Go ahead. No, you got questions?
No, go for it.
The live is going. Tommy Bowie was going to go. I didn't think about that. Tommy Bowie was going to go live, but he wanted to go live with us, but he's not on anymore. No, it's too late now.
What else we got?
What else? Okay, so
any other questions on there? No.
No, I think
ran through them.
Yeah, I thought there was a lot more, but hold on.
Just people observing.
Yeah, they're all watching.
I got a question.
Yeah.
What's the significance of getting a mentor while getting into the wholesale industry or just real estate?
I mean, you should have a mentor just in general, I think. So I've had the same mentor since high school. And this was a football coach of mine, strength and conditioning coach.
What position did you play?
I was skinny back then, dude. I graduated high school at like 145, 150 pounds.
Damn, how much do you weigh now?
Like 210, 215.
210.
So yeah, I was leaner and faster. So I was a defensive back in high school. Yeah. Always super strong for my size though. Like even at 150 pounds, I was benching 225 in high school. Yeah. I was squatting, so
I'd be right behind you. I was like outside linebacker.
Yeah, there you go. So because I was taking, strength and conditioning so serious and I was naturally strong and I was working really hard on it, my strength and conditioning coach and football coach like kind of took me under his wing a little bit. And he was going to school. He's just a little bit older than me. He was going to school to be a counselor. He later then opened up his own counseling business in Illinois, where I'm from. And once he opened that, I would go, I'd keep, even after high school, I would talk with him. And we would go, a couple years without talking. Then I'd be like, man, I really need this structure. And then I would go back to him. But I've been consistently talking to him every 3 or 4 weeks now for the last about 9 years. So like that's been my staple kind of mentor, where we talk about life. We talk about eating mushrooms. We talk about fitness.
Like magic?
Yeah.
We actually had an episode where we had somebody bring them on their gummies.
Yeah. I eat mushrooms all the time. Love them.
Yeah. Microdose, or you go down the rabbit hole?
And microdosing doesn't do anything for me. Like I just do.
Get an idea. I got to figure out this dispo thing.
Yeah. So like for me, I don't really drink anymore. Like I'll have like 1 or 2 here and there. I'm not like dead sober, but I don't get drunk. Yeah. But I still kind of need a little escape from reality. So usually like once a week or every 2 weeks on a Sunday, I'll take like, a gram to 2 grams throughout the day. Just kind of, it's a good reset for me. Yeah. It gets me, refocused. It gets away all my stress from the week before. And I just kind of see the world differently. And it's weird to say as an entrepreneur, but when I'm taking mushrooms regularly, I just get this weight lifted off my shoulder. Like, don't take life so serious. Like,
right. You don't make it out alive.
It's a bigger picture out there, right? Like the universe is way bigger than getting a deal done. But it's funny how you get into that mindset and it actually makes you better at what you do. Right. Because like all that stress doesn't make you better at your job or your craft. But like if you can relieve the stress and still focus on what you're trying to do in business or life, like you can get a lot more done with a lot less stress. And that's what mushrooms has done for me. Like I started consistently doing mushrooms last year at the beginning of the year because I was just going through some mental health challenges.
It's linked to that too. It helps with depression, anxiety. There's a lot of mental health issues that it's tied to helping with.
And it helped me 100%. Like I had always had high anxiety ever since I was a kid. I would have panic attacks when I was younger. Yeah. Could never figure it out. They try and get me on medication. I would never take it. Yeah. And I just throughout my life just grinded through it. And then this past year, since I consistently was eating mushrooms, like it was the most mentally healthy I've ever been in my entire life. Like I'm so much more focused, way less stress. I have no anxiety. I'm sleeping way better. Everything is better. I'm in a better mood. Yeah. I even remember when I started doing it, I'd come into the office and everybody'd be like, Tony, you're in such a good mood all the time. Like, what happened? And I'm like, I'm eating mushrooms every week.
So a gram is groovy. So we got tiers. So friends because they sell it. So what they do, they gauge, and they sell it legally. You can go to a website and you can buy this. Yeah. I'll send you the website and I'll give you a code.
Yeah. I got it.
They got, so they do, it's Blue Miss. We actually had her on the show, but it's Blue Miss. Shout out to Erica.
Blue Miss CBD, right?
Yeah, Blue Miss, it's actually Blue Miss Wellness. They do CBD, they do, beauty products, and then they do magical mushrooms. But, a gram to about 1.5 grams is about microdosing. Then you get to 2 to 3 grams is called groovy. And then, they call it Jedi when you get past 3.5 grams plus. Yeah. That's what I call going down the rabbit hole. But where you're at, you're kind of on groovy. So you don't go too much down the rabbit hole where you're tripping balls, but you're.
Yeah, that would be too much to do on a regular basis. Like I like to do a heavy trip like once or twice a year where I'll take like 5 grams.
Yeah,
but like
that's the reset.
But that's like, I only need that like once a year.
Have you ever thought about, is it ayahuasca? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I just was talking to a friend of mine about that.
They got camps in South America. I have a buddy. His son was training to be a shaman.
Yes.
And they fast for like a week, right? And they have it's ayahuasca and San Paulo cactus.
Yeah.
So the shamans eat the Sao Paulo, and then the guests eat the ayahuasca, and it all connect. And this is not, and I don't know how you guys feel about this spiritually, however you are, if you want to talk about God or the universe, but it taps you in to a spiritual realm that that's what you're noticing. It's and then the shaman kid looks like Jesus.
Yeah.
Like he's got the long hair, and I'm like, bro, does anybody ever tell you look like Jesus? He's like, yeah, at the ayahuasca comps all the time. They used to call me Fire Jesus because he'd stand around a campfire. He's like controlling the trips for people.
Yeah.
But these are like real camps.
Well, it's funny. It's like people smoke weed all day or drink all the time or take, whatever pills the doctor gives them, and then they kind of gawk at, eating mushrooms once a week or doing ayahuasca, a couple of times or something. I think all that stuff's important. Like, not by looking at me, but I'm a hippie at heart, dude. Like I grew up in the 90s when I was like a 90s liberal, and which now they'll call you a crazy conservative for having the same exact views I've had for 20 something years. But yeah, I just always wanted to experiment with stuff like that, and it's definitely helped my mental health for sure.
Yeah. It's been known, like in the tech world, I mean, microdosing leads to creativity. So it's funny you say how you work on some of the things that you're working through, but also with work while doing that. Would you say some of your best ideas come from that? Yeah,
maybe not exactly in the moment, but eventually, definitely like I've had a lot more like aha moments by steady eating mushrooms, because I think it does quiet the noise. Like, and if you can quiet that voice inside your head that's giving you all this bad advice and giving you all this stress and replace it with positivity, when like it opens your mind up to those positive ideas or those good ideas for work or personal life or whatever. So, like that. And then when I have these moments, I'll just, I'll jot them down, and then I'll, bring them to the team or, whoever. But yeah, it definitely helps with creativity, but it's hard to do it in the moment for me.
Well, of course.
Because a lot of times I'm like, is that really a good idea, or am I just high?
But then when you sober up and you're like, and then other stuff connects it to, I like that. I saw, I think it was a bumper sticker, and it says, when you get rid of all the negativity, you make room for more positive. So I would feel like that's very similar to what you're saying, because your thing is almost like mentally negativity could somewhat take over, and if you find an outlet to release that, allow it to go away, and bring in more of that positivity to actually help you get done what you need to get done. Because I personally think people be focusing on stupid shit that doesn't matter. I always tell like family, friends, why are you stressing out? Like at what point do you have control over what you're stressing out about? Can you do anything about it? No. Okay. Can we change the fact that it happened? No. What can we focus on, and just focus on that? Yeah. Because what's stressing out about it going to do to the outcome? That's what I'm saying. Nothing. You're just going to ruin the journey, but it's not like you can just take mushrooms and all your stress goes away. Like, right. I mean, I wake up at the exact same time every day, no alarm. I get up, I go for a run. I have a healthy, shake. What time you wake up? 6:30. 6:30ish. Okay. Yeah. And yeah, I haven't needed an alarm in 20 years. Like, I just train my body to do that. And then I get up, I run, I take a cold shower, I have a healthy meal, I get to work at the same time. Like, I do all these things. I work every day. I go to the gym at night. I go to bed at the right times. Like I don't fill my head with bullshit. Like, I don't watch TV. I don't watch movies. Like, if I'm listening to a podcast, it's usually something I can learn. I have guitars in every one of my rooms. So it's like, if I'm sitting there, I get real fidgety. I'll start playing guitar. I'll learn a song. Like, I'm always trying to do something that's like not wasting time. Like, I always have this feeling like, I was texting you on the way here because like this Uber driver took 8 minutes to respond. Dude, and it was driving me insane because I'm wasting time. Like, I'm very efficient. Like, I need to be here at this time. You need to pick me up at this time.
So
I like that.
yeah, I don't like that wasting time feeling. So I'm always filling my time with something that's, going to help me or others. And, so, and then adding, the mushrooms to that helps. But
Yeah.
It's all that calms me down and keeps me productive and positive.
We were just talking about this the other night because it'll be like 11 o'clock at night, and then I will text him or he'll text me.
Even later sometimes.
We call it
12:30.
Yeah, we call it late night masterminding because next thing you know, he gets an idea, I'm getting an idea, we're playing off the ideas. My thing, I'm like you, I don't like wasting time either. I used to play video games back in the day, and then I was like 21. And I beat this video game, and I just had this realization, like, what did you really accomplish doing that? And I was like, nothing. So now video games don't give me the same, we'll say, serotonin levels, right? Where versus like you, I got to stay constantly busy. My girl will see me pacing. She's like, what are you in your head about right now? And I'm like, I'm thinking about work shit or something, or, he does the same thing. So then we turn it back into that. And I think it's what it takes when you're an entrepreneur. Because I don't think people who are trying to pass by time, I mean, I get it because you need an outlet.
Yeah. I'm not saying never do anything.
Right.
I mean,
like,
I was just
not
out
play
in the
video
desert.
games. Right.
Yeah.
So what might be different for you instead of watching Netflix might be going to ride around on your Baja, which is fucking fun. I saw your video. You got like the real Baja.
Oh yeah, I got a pre-runner. Yeah, it's badass.
You built that yourself?
No, I had a couple of my buddies help me with it.
Okay.
But yeah, most of it was, half of it was built in Santee and half of it was built down in
East
TJ.
County.
Yeah.
In TJ. Damn, you got the Mexican plugs or what?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yep.
You need to like chop up a car too.
Of course. Yeah. You need a coyote. You need to get across.
Slipping, bro. We're gonna come get your Lambo. We're gonna take it to Tijuana with us.
Get deported. I'll get you back. I know some shady people. But
I mean, you always, Anyways, so yeah, that's cool, man. I learned a lot from you today. I think
this was great.
It's cool. It's genuine. It shows you more of human, right? Because I think a lot of people see stuff online and they kind of take it for face value versus, hey, who's Tony Mont?
Yeah.
The man, right?
Yeah, I don't get it, man. It's like, a lot of people we just had this conversation out in the desert. One of my friends I've known for a long time now, she was like, when I first met you, I just thought you were the biggest asshole. She's like, and then I knew you for like 3 months and I just realized you're a good dude.
My friends call it an acquired taste.
But it's like, does it just my looks? Because I think I come across as a genuine person.
Your energy holds something that makes people probably feel intimidated at first. Have you ever gotten that before?
I don't feel, it's weird when people feel that and you don't feel that you're putting it out there. So that's kind of where I'm at. It's like people are, when I meet people, they're like, oh, that follow me. They're like, oh, I thought you were like this hard ass. And I'm like, I don't know that I'm putting that out there, but whatever it is, I'm actually a good dude.
Yeah. It's just you got to not give fucks sometimes.
Yeah.
You got to not give fucks. But guys, we got any questions? Michael Taylor's cutting us loose.
We got 3 minutes.
We got 3 minutes. We're going to go. What about you, Ed? You got anything?
Well, one of the questions that I've asked in the past with, a couple of agents, realtors, developers that have come into the podcast, one question that I tend to ask, what's one of like those moments in your entrepreneurship career, whether it's part of the wholesale or the biking business, that was like, what the fuck I'm going to do now?
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple I can think of, like in the bicycle business, right when all the bird scooters and all the rideshare shit started hitting the streets, like our business got cut in half.
Because everyone's just paying to ride those.
Yeah, like why would I rent a bike or buy a bike when I can rent one for $1, on the street?
Think about that either.
So it really hurt the business, and we scrambled and scrambled. We ended up Bird reached out to a bunch of bike shops and they were like, hey, we need people to fix flat tires. And we ended up getting that bid where most shops down here was like, oh, I want to burn all these things. And we're like, no, we'll fix them for you.
Yeah.
We have a warehouse, bring them to our warehouse. And Bird cut us a check for like $67,000 in the first 45 days we were fixing flat tires.
No shit.
So it's like we always, me and my partner Scott, shout out to Scott Crampton, we always kind of figured out ways to make money in the downtime. And we weren't making as much money in that time, but we survived enough while all these other shops started going out of business, but we survived enough to where when COVID hit, we were in such a great position. Like we struggled for a couple years, and then COVID hit, and it was like, oh, now we're getting everything back and more because we stayed in there.
Yeah, like a lot of people were hurting, and you guys were the exact opposite.
Yeah, it's like it's one of those if you can't beat them, join them kind of things. Like,
Right.
I hate all these goddamn scooters, but why not make money off of them while you can?
COVID for us taught us the significance of being virtual, right?
Mhm.
Like, I know y'all have an office, but for me, we like traveling. And so we make our office virtually
Mhm.
on Zoom. And so we just log into the office on Zoom for, we spent a month in Florida. Happened to meet, is ironic that the bartender was a realtor who had a lead for us that we closed a $30K deal.
Hell yeah.
And then went to Puerto Rico for a week. And then like, hey, we're doing Zooms from Puerto Rico, you know, like that's our office where, and a lot of people, you got to have the office setting, you got to set the culture. We try to set the culture like virtually as well. But let me ask you this, what is in the future for Tony Mont in 2024?
Yeah,
or maybe in the next 5 years?
Yeah, man, this year I'm really focusing on my brand. I want to give a lot more value, offer a lot more coaching and one-on-one stuff like that. I'm refilming my entire disposition course. I'm about halfway done with it. So once that's complete, I'm going to really be pushing that. My course now is good, but it can be way better. So I'm working on that. And then with the business, that's not me personally. We're going to be doing a lot more flips this year. Which I dabbled into the last couple years, but I'm starting to get a system down now where I really want to build out that team. We're going to start building a JV team, for other wholesalers so we can get rid of some deals for them.
Yep.
And then, we have a goal internally to do 5.5 million this year in assignment fees.
5.5
which I think is very, very doable.
With what you guys have already done.
With what we've already done. So
what about holding? Like portfolios, you guys
holding,
want rentals?
yeah, I mean, definitely some of that too. We had 8 or 9 rentals at one time, and they were kind of scattered all over the U.S. and shitty areas too. And we just sold everything, and we got back to, right now we have 2 rentals, and we're going to start rebuilding that together as owners and separately as individuals. So that's always something that's going to be constant over the next however many years I'm around. But yeah definitely. I mean, that's the great thing about wholesaling. You can do whatever you want. You know, if you want to hang out in Puerto Rico and surf and do everything virtual, great. If you want to build a huge wholesaling company, you can do that. Hopefully exit it one day. You know, you can hold a bunch of stuff. You can, when you're direct to seller, I mean, you can always make money.
Facts.
So
Facts.
Anybody getting into it, it's a hustle, but you can do it as a one-man band and make really good money, and still have a great life.
I agree with you because I think a lot of people online make it look easier than it really is. And my opinion, if it was easy, then everyone would be doing it. Right. So it is a hustle. It is a grind.
But you can do it. Yeah, like anybody can do it.
You just got to put in the time and the work.
You just got to be willing to grind.
If you got the money, it helps out. It speeds up the process a little bit faster. I always tell some of the newbies, I'm like, you got any money? No, I don't have any money. Well, you got any time? Oh, I got a full-time job. Probably ain't the best idea for you to do right now.
Yeah, you need one of the two.
Right.
But yeah, don't listen to these fake-ass gurus on Instagram telling you everything's easy and, making reels talking shit to people they don't know what they're doing. So
let me ask you a personal question since we're trying to build the brand. If we do a meetup, you want to come out and speak? Or what
Absolutely.
do we got to do? What do we got to do to get you back out here to speak in front of people?
Just ask me. If I'm not traveling that weekend already, I'll come out.
I got some ideas. Guys, you've heard it here from Dispo Daddy, the Dispo King himself. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching. We are out.